What's up, everybody? Jason from Straight Edge Knives. Hey, we got another knife review for you today, and this time it is on a folding knife. And guys, this is the HX Outdoors TD15T. That's TD15T. I ran into these guys at SHOT Show 2025. They had some cool stuff on their table. So their folders looked really nice, and I was able to get my hands on this TD15T. And I was like, I'm gonna do a review on this thing. It's a pretty slick little knife. I really do like their packaging that they have here as well. They have this nice, like, kind of little pelican case type thing. It's probably plastic or composite, but it's pretty cool. It's nice. It's got a little spot where you can even hang it up on a wall here if you wanted to. But let's crack this open. So we pop it open. You got a nice little latch, and then as we open it up, you got the presentation of the knife here. And it's got some foam in here, so it's kind of a cool little box. So, like, even if you don't, you throw the knife in your pocket, right, you could reutilize this box for probably a lot of different things. So it's actually kind of cool. I do appreciate the packaging on that. Sometimes it's like the little things, guys, that kind of make it, I don't want to say make a knife or break it, but I do like the little things, like the packaging and stuff like that. Sometimes it's just when they throw stuff like this in, it's like, hey, that's cool. You may not ever use it. You may throw it away, but hey, whatever. I like it. But we're not here to talk about that box. We're here to talk about this knife. And man, this thing opens very nicely. So check this out. Give you guys a nice up close look at this. It's a very cool blade. You actually have a couple of deployment methods. You have the finger flipper here on the back, right? Or you can utilize this relief cutout here, and you can do the whole, it's been a minute since I've done a Spidey flick, but there you go. You can do the Spidey flick thing. So got a couple of deployment methods there. It kind of makes it fidgety. This has a really nice sound to it. Let me see if I can get close to the mic. It's got this sound to it, which is, I don't know, it's kind of cool. I like it. But what you're looking at here is a liner lock, flipper. Let's go over the specs on this real quick. So we got this is the TD15T. It is D2 steel for the blade, coming in at a 56 Rockwell hardness. You have a titanium alloy handle. Your overall length on this is 7.28 inches. Your blade length is 2.95, and it's coming in at 3.19 ounces. So it's not an overly heavy knife. It's actually a very, very light, flipper, and probably do the titanium alloy and stuff like that. You do have a nice pocket clip on the back here. It does not look like it's reversible though, but you can see the pocket clip there. And the reason why I say it's not reversible is if you're looking at it, it's got 3 screws that are holding it in place, but when you flip it over to the other side, there's not 3 holes. So that's why I don't believe it's a reversible pocket clip. You do have a lanyard hole on here. You are looking at a frame lock. You guys can see that. And looking at it, it locks up very well. Like, it's not barely locked up. I mean, the frame lock is not frame lock. The liner lock is actually moved over. It's almost perfectly centered with the blade. So it does have a really nice solid lockup. There's no blade play from, twisting the knife this way, left to right. There's no blade play. And I don't feel any blade play front to back as well. I mean, like, when it's open and locked up, it's open and locked up. So that's really nice. The blade came nice and centered. You guys can see that there. Looking at it, I don't see it like really off to one side or the other. Everything's centered. Everything's tight. The pocket clip's tight on here. You have a nice back spacer filling in as well. Again, you got a lanyard hole. It's a really solid knife for the price, guys. And I'll have the links to their website down below so you can go check out I don't usually talk about prices and stuff on my channel. I'll put links and stuff to their site. You guys can go look and find all that stuff out. It's just, I'm not trying to sell anything. It's just one of those things where I'm just reviewing it. And if you're interested, you can check out those links. But this does have a nice little thumb relief here. So with some jimping on the back of the blade. So when you actually grab it, you can put your thumb on the back here. And it kind of gives you a little bit of extra, got that thumb. Instead of having it up here on the blade, you actually have a thumb relief here, if you guys can see that. So that's actually pretty cool. That's something I've noticed too much on some other folding blades. And that also acts as the leverage point for the flipper. So flip it and bam, now you got your thumb ramp right here ready to go. So you do have these nice cutouts here in the inside to kind of lighten it up a little bit as well. And then on the liner lock, it does have some jimping on the liner. You guys can see that right there. Make sure, let me get my phone up here so I can see a little better. So yeah, so you can see right here, you got jimp. Oh, got too close. Got jimping on there, and it is actually kind of rounded off a little bit, so it's not really like a sharp edge. So you know, if you're opening and closing this all day long, it's not going to really chew your thumb up. It's not like an overly aggressive stippling, and then it's kind of slightly chamfered around the relief here, so it's not going to eat your thumb up as you're opening and closing the knife and things like that. All the edges around the blade are nicely rounded off or chamfered. Everything looks nice, and looks like it fits really good. So, I mean, overall, it feels like just a nice, comfortable EDC blade. It's got a really nice, sleek look to it with this titanium, brushed titanium look. You do have HX Outdoors right there on the blade, and then on the other side, there's a symbol, I believe a symbol for the company, and then you have the name, the model number of the blade right down here, TD15T. So, and then on the other side it says D2 tool still. So, guys, giving you that look at this knife real quick, but we are going to test it out. So I'm going to go over to the testing area right now, and we're going to just do kind of some basic stuff that you would do with a folding knife, right? So, one thing I'm going to point out as we're doing this testing is, you know, folding knives are folding knives. Can they do the things that fixed blades do? No, typically they can't. So I'm not going to be, you know, batoning through wood and things like that like I normally do on a lot of my other videos. Obviously, a lot of my videos are fixed blade knives, but I do on occasion like to do folders because I do carry a folder as well. And so I do like to kind of show at least some like everyday cutting type task things that you would do with a knife. I am going to do some things that are a little bit harder in the knife because I want to see how the blade play holds up. But other than that, guys, man, we're going to get into this. So stand by while I head over to the testing area. All right, everybody, we're over here at the good old testing stuff. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know this is where I do all my testing at, right? If you're not familiar with my channel, please make sure you go hit that like, subscribe, and follow button. I'd greatly appreciate it if you want to see more content like this. I know I typically don't really say that very often in my videos, but I do greatly appreciate it if you like, follow, and subscribe. So, let's get in here. So, we got our old phone book, right? So, we're going to do a little stab testing. We're not going to go crazy hard, right? You know, we're going to see if this liner lock's going to hold up to, you know, basically stabbing a phone book. And we're going to see what type of penetration we can get. You guys know, not phone book, but this is a catalog. It's kind of, yeah, it's a couple inches thick. But I'm not going to come in and go, you know, crazy because, you know, it's a folder, right? It's a liner lock. You know, we got to be smart about things, right? We can't sit there and go crazy ham wild because if the lock does give, it's going to close on our hand. But let's get in here. Hey, that's pretty good. So we actually got about a quarter of the way through the catalog on just that kind of light stab. The tip is just barely poking out right here. Barely through. But that's not a bad stab for just kind of a little light boom, you know? Looking at that lock. Yeah, again, about a quarter way through the catalog. That's actually pretty good. That's actually not a bad stab at all for, not like I said, going ham wild on it and doing like what we do with a fixed blade, but nice and sharp here, guys. And that's one thing I will say, this knife did come out of the box nice and sharp. Very nicely done with the edge on here. And we are going to test that edge a little bit, guys. We will do a little bit of wood stuff with it, like making some feather stick, things like that. One of the things we need to definitely try out here, guys, on the sharpness, is the fire hose, guys. So this is fire hose, legit off a fire truck. It's made to be cut and abrasion resistant because it goes through fires, car wrecks, and things like that. And so we are going to cut through this and give it a little stab as well, just to check, you know, see how well it cuts and also if it'll penetrate through the layers, right? So we're going to cut through here. This is going to definitely test this edge because this stuff is like sandpaper to a knife edge, guys. Especially this hose because it actually came off an old fire truck. And so this thing's got dirt and grit in it. And bam. Nice clean cut through there, guys. So can it cut a cut abrasion, cut resistant material? Yes, it can. Still got a pretty good edge going here. So let's do a little stab on here, and this is going to wind up going into the stump. So this is, again, is going to test the sturdiness of the lock and also test that tip. So the tip is right here. Did go through. The only thing that stopped it was the stump. I want you guys to be able to see that tip right there, wiggling it. So did penetrate through. The only thing, like I said, again, stopping it is the stump at the end of the day. Let's fold this over and give it a little. Nice. Nicely done. And in case you guys have never seen a fire hose, it's basically 3 layers here. You got an outer layer of canvas, you have an inner layer of canvas, and then inside that inner layer of canvas is a piece of rubber that's glued in. So very tough stuff. So can you stab a fire hose with it? Yep, sure can. Is this tip still good? Yes, it is. So you guys gotta look at that tip. So now let's say you had to cut, you know, emergency medical situation. You had to cut some clothing off of somebody to assess and render aid, right? So can you, jeans right here? Oh yeah, cutting those jeans nicely. Right here along the seam. Nice clean cut. Just went right down that seam right there. So if you had to come in and cut some clothing and stuff like that off, absolutely could do it. Go into the back pocket here. Cut through there, through that pocket spot right there. Boom, right there. Cut through that reinforced area where the back pocket's sewed. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. Let's say you got some rope you need to cut, right? So we got some, you know, 550 cord here. Come in here, cut the rope. Yeah, you could cut 550 cord all day, you know. If you had to do a little chop. Now, this is not something that I would say, you know, I would recommend doing with a folding knife, guys, like doing like chopping with it. They're not necessarily made to do that. So this is going to put a lot of pressure on the edge and also on the locking mechanism. You know, when you start doing this type of stuff, you are probably getting into kind of like the abuse type area of a knife. But I try not to go too crazy, but I do want to show you guys that if you bought a knife like this HX outdoors knife, that can it handle some rougher and tougher stuff? Yeah, let's see, right? So bam, just cut those 2 pieces in half. Not a problem. That edge looks good still. Still opening and closing. Spidey flick. Yeah, still opening and closing fine. Let's check the front and back. Still good. Still nice and solid. Cool. So, and we're going to keep checking that, guys. So here we have this thicker yellow poly rope. This stuff, again, just like the fire hose, is really abrasive to a knife edge. Difficult to cut sometimes. So we're going to cut a piece of this off. As you can see, it starts to fall apart once you start cutting it. It makes a huge mess. Bam. So got a nice little cut there. Cut a chunk of it off. As you see there, it's like yellow snow. A still pretty decent edge, guys. Still holding up that edge. You guys can see there. I'm not seeing any chipping or rolling. So that's good. We got this thicker sissy rope, guys. Look at how thick this stuff is. Man, you want to talk about abrasive to a knife edge? Yeah, this stuff is pretty abrasive. So we're going to cut a chunk of this off as well. Again, you start getting through this, it starts to unravel and makes a pretty good mess. There you go. Not a bad little cut. Again, you got all of that right there off of that one piece. So, you know, if you had to cut some thicker, heavier duty rope, absolutely. And if you're into making fires and fire starting, definitely hold on to that Sisu rope because that stuff makes a good fire starter. So here we have a piece of 3000 PSI rated air compressor hose. So we're gonna come in here, we're gonna do a little cut on this. Boom, there it is. Cut a little piece of that hose off. If you had to come in and maybe cut that in half for whatever reason, do a nice little push cut right through. Can't pick it up. There you go. Nice little cut right through there. So cutting through some 3000 PSI rated hose, you could definitely do that. Now we're going to start getting a little, hold on, we'll save that for, we're going to get to that. Let's do this here. We got some zip ties zip tied around this piece of wood right here. So let's say you had to, you know, come in to cut those off. So we're going to slide under, pop that one off, pop that off, putting some pressure on that edge, pop them all off, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yeah, didn't chip or roll the edge at all. So that's good. And then we have this, it's kind of a cheapy, like ratchet straps, you know, type material. Nothing super crazy, but we're gonna cut a piece of this off. Check it out. Got that nice little thumb ramp right there. Oop. Nice clean cut right through there. Yeah. Nice clean cut right through there. And that's after kind of cutting the zip ties and also you know, cutting through the hose, the fire hose, and the abrasive stuff. You know, right here we have this kind of crazy poly cotton blend rope. I don't even know where I got this from, but it's a little bit thicker. Bam. Yeah. Nice clean cut right through there. So you had to do a nice precision cut. Oh yeah, look at that. Cut it easy. So a little bit thicker, kind of a thicker version of 550. Got this weird kind of cotton stuff in there, but yeah, if you had to cut some of that off, definitely could. Now, let's get to a little bit of wood stuff. Again, like I said, we're gonna test this edge and let's check this locking mechanism. Front to back, side to side, still really solid, guys. It's not, the lock bar is still nice and center there. You can see that. The locking frame, the liner lock. So let's got this piece of wood here. Let's see if we can make some little bit of fire curls. Because you may have went hiking or backpacking for the day, thought, I'm just gonna take a little day hike, but I don't know, something happened, something went sideways, and now you're stuck out in the woods. You're like, shoot, I need to make a fire, and this is the only knife you had. Maybe you had your trusty Zippo on you, but you needed to make some fire curls, fire sticks. Can you come in and do it? Yep, looks like you can. Gonna shave some pieces off, hog some off like this. You guys can see those flying off there. Absolutely. It's putting a lot of pressure on that lock, right? It's still holding up great. So it's still side to side. There's no wiggle. There's no wiggle front and back, guys. So far that little locking bar is holding up pretty good. Again, it's not, we haven't put it through a ton of like really, really hard stuff, which again, with a Foley knife, you're not going to, but we are gonna baton this little piece of wood right here, guys. So this is a little piece of wood. Again, I do not recommend doing this with your folding knife. It's not recommended, but I like to show you guys kind of, I'm not trying to break the knife, but I do want to see if it can perform some slightly heavier duty task, okay? So I don't necessarily recommend batoning with your knife, but we are definitely testing this liner lock out. So it looks like it almost gave out there for a second and then it relocked itself. So that's pretty good. But again, we'll just split that wood. Yeah. still opens and closes. Spidey flick. All right, sorry about that, guys. My camera actually battery died, so I had to go grab my battery bank and plug this thing in. But when I was batoning through that wood, as I got almost to the bottom, I did feel it kind of give for a quick second, but then because I was pressing down, it went right back into its locked position. And it looks like it's still solid where it locks up at. It just might have been one of those things where, like, I'm putting a lot of pressure down on this blade, right? Hitting it. So that's probably why it gave, but it locked right back up. So not too much of an issue. Again, are you really going to be batoning with a knife? No. A folding knife? No. But I did want to show you that it would hold up. There's no play left or right. There's no play front to back. So this thing is still very solid, yeah, considering I beat on it like that. And the blade is still centered. You guys can see that right there. So we still got a center blade. Still opens and closes nicely. You still get that sound to it. You know, everything looks good still. So, yeah, I mean, considering that I was, beating on that pretty good, I wouldn't have any problem carrying this thing around. So we're gonna do a little bit of a stabbing test here, guys. So we got this 2x6 right here, and kind of what I just like to do is I like to stab into this a little bit, testing that tip out. Also, we're testing the liner lock as we're doing this. You know what I mean? So tip is still fine. No problem, no issues. Now, what I do like to do as well, and I do this with a lot of my fixed blades, is I'm going to stab into this, and we're just going to start turning this blade and like kind of almost like drilling into the wood, almost like if you were making a bow drill divot for a fire. One of the reasons why I like to do this is typically towards the tip. One, your tip is typically one of the thinner parts of the blade, and also one of the thinner parts for the edge, in my opinion. I could be wrong. If I am, please let me know in the description. But I like to do this because as I'm turning that knife, it's putting a lot of pressure on one of the thinner parts of the knife, and I like to see how well it holds up. So we're going to put in here. Just start turning it like this. It's a lot of side pressure that you're putting on the edge when you do this. And so I like to, it's kind of said one of the reasons why I like to do it, because I like to see how well that's going to hold up. Is it going to roll on me a little bit? Is it going to chip? Is the tip going to bend? Things like that, right? Just kind of turn it around like we're digging a hole, guys. Really is what we're doing. Yeah, no issues. It's still nice and straight. There's no chipping or rolling on that edge. You guys can see that. It looks really good still. Still decently sharp, and you guys can kind of see right there where I was kind of digging that hole in. So actually pretty good, man. So like I said, I can't really complain too much about it. Still got a decent edge. Still a workable edge. Like you said, you could still come in and cut. Still come in and cut strap, or grab this piece. Cut a strap if you need to. Still a pretty good cut. Let's do another one. Still pretty good clean cut. It's not bad at all. So for a budget friendly folding knife, this thing is pretty solid, guys. The TD15T D2 tool steel, titanium alloy handles. I mean, pocket clip's nice. Liner lock held up great. Let's do some light taps on the back here. Again, this is not something I recommend you do, because I got to be careful that if the lock does give, I don't want to cut myself either, So let's put this up here. I'm kind of holding it like this, so if it does close, it's not going to, hopefully, not cut me. You guys can see that lock, frame lock is still staying right there in the middle. Yeah, still holding up great, guys. It's front to back and side to side. There's still no play. So, I mean, that's pretty good. And it's still centered. So, yeah, man, definitely go click the link down below. Check out the prices on these things. They're really good. Kind of for what you're getting, the price that you're paying, and kind of what we just put it through. This is going to be a great everyday carry EDC blade for just, you know, just your general task use. I mean, obviously you're not going to be running around beating on wood and stuff like that like I was. But you know, you can kind of do it if you know, if you need to, because you see me just do it. But you know, is it something that I would recommend? No, I would say that would probably void your warranty. But overall, this thing's still pretty damn solid, man. I'm kind of impressed with that, you know. Sweet, man. The edge held up. There's no chipping or rolling. Guys, go check out the HXX. Go check out HX Outdoors website. This is the TD15T. They have a few different variations of this knife, kind of different blade shapes. They have a lot of fixed blades on there as well that you can check out. But overall, man, I'm pretty happy with this thing for the price of it and the materials that are on here and how it kind of held up to some of these tests I just did. That's pretty impressive. So definitely go check them out, guys. All right, everybody. I greatly appreciate you tuning in. As always, make sure you hit like, follow, subscribe. Leave comments below what you think. Do you think I tested this hard enough? Do you think the test that I'm doing with the folding knife is good? Or what are your just opinions in general? I always like to hear comments from you guys, all right? So there it is, guys. The HX Outdoors TD15T. Make sure you go check it out. Stay safe, stay sharp, and we'll see you on the next one.